I think the river for me is a much more, it's a personal experience. All the important bits of your life, where you're the age of my son in there and you want to jump around on a rubber tube and all you want to do is catch a yabby and all you want to do is build a billy cart and ride it flat out into the river, and all the things you want to do are, you know, the real way that you remember the river. They don't rely on legislation, they don't rely on anything. And then beyond that, the river acts beyond anything we can ask it or tell it to do, or weir it or dam it or pump it or control it. It's bigger than all of that as well. And it'll be there long after we are, and all the legislation, all the policy's gone, and all that sort of stuff. It'll still be there. So. My darling wends her winding way across the western plains. She fills the narrow channel and spills into shallow drains, and she runs within this country like the blood within its veins, and life follows with her where she goes. My darling carries much more than the water she contains, and she lives beyond the realm of what she shows. Because water's not the only thing that rises with summer rains, and it's not the only thing that ebbs and flows. My darling struggles bravely with the changes she has faced. There are pieces taken from her that can never be replaced, like the memories of landscapes now centuries erased, and the efforts that are made to bend her will. But my darling bides her time within the tracks that she's traced, with vows that she's promised to fulfil. She knows the greed of men and our capacity for waste, while our changing plans are forced upon her still. So my darling shrinks within herself and bakes beneath her sun. Responding to demands and to the damage that's been done, she sleeps beneath the sand and refuses now to run. Her shallow frame a shrunken creek.
Yeah.
The other thing we spent a lot of money on is actually reinstating snags and habitat back into the river.
Yep.
With the theory being that if you can improve the habitat for native fish, then they will outcompete the invasive animals like carp.
Yep.
Yeah. It was really interesting because there's these old reports from 100 years ago, you know, of that they would send back to the Surveyor General or whoever, you know, about, we spent, you know, we've got a team of 50 men, we spent 7 pounds today removing 12, we got 12 snags out of the river, so they basically went along the river and pulled all these big old red gums, which are a natural function of the stream.
Yeah.
They pulled them out so they could improve the water for as a waterway to traffic.
For the boats, yeah, right, yes.
Pulled them all out of there, chopped even the trees down that were hanging over the river and were about to fall in, got them all out of the way.
Yep.
Nice clear channel.
Yep.
And now,
like a highway.
In a typically government sort of way, 100 years on, we're spending $1 million sort of doing, you know, going finding trees from all over the place to put back into the river.
Yeah.
To do exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the learning though, isn't it?
Yeah. And so that's got some positive results as well already. And
has it?
Yeah. Oh, look, we went back and monitored these things within about a month of instating them.
Yeah.
And there was, you know, like big fish had already set up homes there.
Yep.
Lots of smaller fish we were recruiting, and they were growing mossy, which means all those little organisms will start to feed in and around those plants, which means more fish will be there.
Major Thomas Mitchell completed Fort Burke Stockade here on May the 29th, 1835. I'm quite keen on this mulga, dead mulga covered in the red soil. I presume that insects are doing it. Yes, between this and the stockade that Thomas Mitchell had his men build, this tiny little structure in the middle of the vast bush to protect themselves against Aboriginals. They talk about the river as being boom and bust. That's the natural cycle of it. Flood, drought. And I guess that often brings people undone. Andrew Hull talked about some people who've been able to just adapt and survive it economically, and other people who've planned their agriculture less wisely. The Darling's just over there, and this looks like floodplain. I'm just out of Louth, heading to Trilby Station. This is Trilby Station, south of Louth, on the Darling. It's right on the Darling. It's 200,000 acres, or just a bit less than 100,000 hectares. Sheep station, and they catch feral goats and sell them. That's a fairly lucrative business, and there's lots and lots of feral goats around here. Apparently they get transported down to Albury, where they're killed halal and then shipped off mainly to the Middle East. Anyway, this is on an amazing floodplain. Well, they've got an airstrip here on this station because they do mustering from the air. So when they need to, they can fly in and out. The Darling often gets described as a gutter. There must be a lot of water when it comes up high enough to get over these massive riverbanks. Just at a guess, that water would be about 12 metres below the banks. I'm in a canoe drifting. The weather forecast is saying it might rain in a couple of days' time, so I'm going to get out of here today. I don't want to be stuck on the mud roads for 3 days or more. I wish I could stay here though, it's beautiful. It's really peaceful. Here's some of the fabled river red gums. Magnificent. This is a really beautiful place, this station. I could see how you'd have to live here for years to really get to know just what it's like. The weather, the cycles, the intense heat, cold. Trilby used to be part of a bigger station that was 1 million acres called Dunlop. And that all got broken down eventually, and with droughts and all that. But this last 10-year drought, Trilby was going through a hard time, but these rains the last year or two have made a big difference to everyone around here, it seems. They've built their sheep stock back up between the sheep farming and the feral goat business and tourism, because they have a lot of people staying here on this property, including me.
Dirt track old mates, mailbox big gates, hot sun dirt floats, cool river paddle boat, small scoop no class, cricket ground no grass, tin church cat on, old brave people driving down the river town. Take your time and think, rich fella, poor fella, everybody's got to drink. We all go down to the life giver, people walk on the river.
And here's the famous Tilpa pub.
How you going?
Oh, there are you.
3 schooners of gold, please, and a packet of what have you got? Orange.
Widest ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, whatever. Didn't really need those scotches.
Oh, I know.